Hello everyone, this is Sujata Kar. I'll present a paper along with Ms. Pooja Kapoor on Is Consumer Confidence Survey Relevant in India? A study on inflation expectations and perceptions of the consumers. Our paper primarily, this is the content of our presentation, but we'll be focusing on objectives and results and discussion due to paucity of time. We have 5 objectives. The first and the second objectives deal with the effect of inflation expectations and perceptions on consumers' expected change in real spending and perceived change in real spending, respectively. The third one assesses the bidirectional causality between expected and perceived inflation. The fourth objective examines the effects of expected inflation on the change in real expected income or perceived inflation on the change in real perceived income. And the fifth objective critically assesses the relevance of CCS, that is Consumer Confidence Surveys conducted by the RBI. This is the conceptual framework of our analysis. This conceptual framework basically displays the relationships that we have examined between or among a large number of variables in terms of hypothesis formed. And on the basis of the framework as well as the objectives framed, we have estimated 6 alternative models. These are the descriptions of the models. The paper works with CCS surveys or consumer confidence surveys conducted by the Reserve Bank of India, the Central Bank of India. The data includes quarterly observations for the period March 2015 to December 2018, collected from 13 cities, 13 Indian cities, with a total number of respondents of 87,466. The responses were recorded for nominal expended spending and income. That's why they were converted into real values by subtracting the corresponding inflation expectation. Therefore, when nominal spending is expected to increase along with inflation, a zero value is assigned to expected change in real spending. If nominal spending is expected to increase while inflation is expected to remain constant, then we have given assigned a value of 1 to the real expected spending. That is, it increases when both of them, one of them increases and the other decreases. A value of +2 or -2 is assigned to real expected spending or income. This is explained here. Additionally, we also included some demographic variables, and these are the this is how the demographic variables were coded. Now I'll request Pooja to continue with the results and discussion.
Results of Model 1 show that most of the variables are statistically significant at 1 and 5%. It shows that people are more likely to increase their expected spending on the fact of an increase in expected price, and hence we fail to reject our null hypothesis H1. On the other hand, expected change in real spending is more likely to decrease with an increase in perceived inflation, hence we also accept null hypothesis H4. Among However, expected change in real income of the households for almost all the categories impacts the expected change in real spending negatively. This implies that when real income is expected to increase, real spending is expected to decline, and vice versa. Apparently, economic theorizing suggests that real spending increase with increase in real income. However, there could be instances where the opposite may also occur. For instances, when there is a significant expected increase in real income, it implies that nominal income is expected to increase and prices are expected to decrease. In such a situation, expected real spending will decline only if expected decrease in price exceeds expected increase in nominal income. Further possibilities are also explained in the given example. Now, our whole analysis suggests that when there is an increase in expected nominal income and expected inflation remains constant, expected real spending may fall because of a fall in the expected nominal spending. This is counterintuitive, but could be triggered by other factors like an increased tendency to save and invest more, though the present research fails to draw any inference about it due to the unavailability of data. Results show some of the analysis done on the demographic variables in the next slide, but due to the paucity of time, we will not explain this here. Then estimates of model 2 shows that increase in expected prices With increase in expected prices, respondents are more likely to perceive a reduction in their current real spending, and hence we accept the null hypothesis H2. Similarly, the other analysis show that the perceived increase in nominal spending will exceed perceived inflation, resulting in an increase in real spending. Hence, we also accept our null hypothesis H3. Now, estimates of model 3 shows that that perceived a period of low perceived inflation is expected to be followed by a subsequent period of high inflation and vice versa, which leads to which leads to reject the null hypothesis H5A and H5B. Estimates of model 4 shows that expected real income increases with increase in expected inflation and vice versa. Therefore, we do accept the null hypothesis H6A and H6B. However, since the respondents only express their views on the direction of expected and perceived change in prices, income and spending, we are not able to verify the above statement. The connections here are devoid of meaningful economic interpretation and hence may indicate more towards casual rather than the attentive responses. Now, most of our results on the relationships between expected and perceived inflation in one hand and expected and perceived real spending on the other contradict the underlying economic theories explaining the relationship between these variables. These also contrast with a recent study made in India by Yadav and Shankar in 2014 and 15. The survey also contained information about individual respondents' education level, in which it is observed that 30.5% of the respondents were either illiterate or had education only up to the primary level, and 52 and 80% had education below 12th and graduation, respectively. Some observation from the survey data may also help us in strengthening an argument that can be referred to table number 8 in the manuscript. Now, the CPI data published by the RBI, the Central Bank of India, the average quarterly inflation for the period quarter 1 2014-15 to quarter 3 2018-19 was at minus 0.11%, while average quarterly year-on-year inflation was at 0.01%. Despite such low inflation environment, such used responses in favor of high perceived and expected inflation were either due to the perception or exception biasness or measurement in error in the calculation of CPI. Given the CPI is a new series, has a revised basket of rather recent period, the error in CPI calculation is less likely. Therefore, apparently it is seen that there is a tendency to exaggerate perceived and expected inflation along with perceived and expected spending. So our suggestion is that on the basis of the discussion presented, we would recommend that the surveys should target people having basic knowledge and awareness about prices, concepts of inflation, general economic environment, and ideas about changes in their own income and spending behavior. Also, the sample must not consist of respondents who are not even graduates, and a substantial portion of whom are illiterate or having elementary education up to 5th standard. Overall, the demographic profiles of the respondents, along with the results of audit probit model, obscure the purpose of conducting such surveys. We also suggest a major communicative role on behalf of RBI should be done periodically to educate people on monetary policy objectives, including inflation, consumption, and growth. Thank you.